Here I go again with my unsolicited opinion, part 3, on why child support is so unfair. Let me rephrase that. Child support in itself is not unfair because children should be supported. The basis of my argument is child support is unfair usually to the absent parent, the non-custodial parent. Child support is so unfair. The process, not the actual support. The process. And to some degree, the actual amount of the support is unfair as well. But the process to which the support is determined is so unfair. Let me give you an example. Let's say, for example, Jay-Z, millionaire, billionaire, has a child with Carolyn from some back alley down the street. Jay-Z has to pay Carolyn. Carolyn didn't even have a job. So, because she has a child from him, the courts will probably determine that she should have whatever based on Jay-Z's income is to support that child. My argument is, if Jay-Z lives in a Beverly Hills mansion and Carolyn lives in some hole in an alley, I would agree that Jay-Z's heart shouldn't want his child to live there. But I would also agree that that child should be in Beverly Hills with Jay-Z and not in that alley with Carolyn. If the courts decide that Carolyn should keep the child, well, then to me, that court has decided that that child shouldn't live like Jay-Z lives. If it's in the best interest of the child, wouldn't you think that it would be better off that that child be where the courts decide the money is? There is no reason Jay-Z should have to upgrade Carolyn, who wouldn't be in Beverly Hills anyway, based on her income. There's no reason that's fair. There's no reason that should be. So Carolyn came from an alley. She works. Her income support her being in the alley. Now, somehow, through some drunken experience, she ended up with a child from Jay-Z. So now, Jay-Z's still in his Beverly Hills mansion. She's still in her alley, her hole in the alley. Jay-Z has to determine whether or not he wants his child to live like that. So the courts will no doubt send $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month to Carolyn. That child is not going to get that. Carolyn is now no longer going to live in that alley, even though her income support her being there. So what I'm saying is that that child should be with Jay-Z. And since that, let's say hypothetically, in a weird situation, they send that child to live with Jay-Z, Carolyn is still responsible. Jay-Z may not need Carolyn's financial support for their child, although she should be financially responsible because it is part her child. If that child is living with Jay-Z, I promise you the courts is not going to tell her she would have to pay what Jay-Z has to pay if the child is living with her. If the income, if the support is about the child, why is it that they need more in one place and less in the other? So if that child is living with Jay-Z, then Carolyn would only have to pay maybe $10, $15 a month. If the child is living with Carolyn, then Jay-Z has to pay $10,000 or $15,000 a month. How is it that that same child needs so much different to live, such different in income, in financial support based on where she is? I understand that it probably costs more to live in Beverly Hills, which is why Carolyn shouldn't be there based on her income. So Jay-Z, just because you have a child from Carolyn, doesn't mean you should have to upgrade Carolyn. You should change the way that child lives. And again, this is my unsolicited opinion. Child support should be just that, for the child. It does not upgrade the mother's living. If she doesn't work, she has no business living in a Beverly Hills mansion. I'm sorry. That's just my unsolicited opinion. The child, yes, maybe. But the mom, no. And you should not use that child as a cash cow to upgrade your living because you've made the decision that you want to live the way you live. So I'm sorry. I don't care if the child went to go live with Michael Jackson. Because it's 50% that mother who lives in the alley, you should still have to pay, even though that father may not necessarily need the money. It's still your child, and you're 50% responsible. That's my unsolicited opinion. Part 3 on why I say child support, the system, the process is unfair. Okay? So, like, comment, and share if you want to hear some more of my unsolicited opinions. Thank you.